All right, welcome to another edition of Buck What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Super Heavyweight on Twitter. You follow me, I'll follow you back. A couple things I wanted to touch on tonight, and I know a lot of people are upset about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers losing to the New Orleans Saints on Sunday. Um, Hats off to Drew Brees. Drew Brees is still one hell of a quarterback, and you know what? He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. No doubting that. No doubting his ability to still win games. No doubting the dangerousness of this guy. Hats off to Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston had another solid game. You know, you could say what you want to about the game. It was a little bit flat. The Buccaneers came out flat. But I mentioned this last week on the show when I was talking with Princess Nikki. I did mention that the Bucs are still learning how to win games, and that's kind of what we saw. But as a whole, throughout this season up till now, I would have to say that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have met my expectations. They won 6 games, and we've still got multiple games left to play in the season. So to me, I think the Bucs are doing good. I if we rewind back to the beginning of the season, I thought that the defense would not be the issue, and I thought that it would be the the offense that would have the problems because you've got a rookie quarterback, you've got a bunch of unknowns on the offensive line, and you look at this team and what they've done. It's the stark polar opposite. Doug Martin is balling out of his mind, second in the NFL in rushing yards. And I tell you what, with this early game, this will give him a chance to be first in rushing in the NFL if he has that type of game against the St. Louis Rams. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself and talk about this game yet. I still want to talk a little bit about what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were able to do. One thing that I will say is my hat's off to Vincent Jackson. Vincent Jackson has been injured on multiple occasions, but you can tell what effect Vincent Jackson has on this team as opposed to the other receivers that are out there. And I'm not taking anything away from anybody. Dante Dye has been playing good. Adam Humphries has been playing good. But at the same time, it's kind of a downgrade when you have a Vincent Jackson and you go down to these backup receivers who are dropping passes, open passes, and not getting open like a Vincent Jackson does. So you can really see what kind of effect he has on the team. And when you're talking about Vincent Jackson, you're talking about a guy who's out in the community. He's doing all these great things for veterans. He's doing all these great things for kids. I mean, this guy is stellar. And I really hope that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers consider him after his career is over, consider him for the Ring of Honor. Because despite making it to the playoffs, despite all these other accolades that other players get, you see what a difference he makes. His helping Mike Evans mature. You can kind of see where he's really helping out this team, not so much in yardage, but in behind the scenes types of things, and in the community. So my hat's off to him. You know what? And I'm not upset about this game. This is the game that got away. This is the game the Bucks could have easily won. This is one of those games that I've mentioned in past podcasts that these are winnable games. Okay, this is the case in point. Houston, case in point. Tennessee, I just feel like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were not prepared and they got it handed to them. And that's all I can say about it. But the games like against the Eagles, you saw where this team was prepared. They went in and they did what they had to do. And, you know, that shows you what the potential is for this team when you see games like that, where you see plays after plays after plays being made, when you see what Jameis Winston can do when his offensive line gives him time. And that kind of segues into the next part that I want to talk about as well. Our offensive line is on point. I know that there's a lot of stuff that they can improve on, but when you look at where we were at the beginning of the season last season, and you look at where we are right now, it's a stark polar opposite. It's like night and day. It's just hard to believe that our offensive line has improved that much. And what you can attribute this to is Dirk Cutter. Dirk Cutter coming in here, leaving the Atlanta Falcons and coming over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers has been monumental. You can see just with the play calling, you could see with the confidence that Jameis Winston has. You can see with the way the offensive line is playing. You could see with the play of Doug Martin, Austin Safarian Jenkins, Cameron Brate, all these players going out here and balling out like they're supposed to. And to me, that's what's exciting because what you're doing right now is with the injuries that you've had throughout the season and the players coming in and playing these positions, you're creating depth. And I know that sounds weird, but all these players are getting to start right now because the starters are actually injured. So next season, the players that are kept around, that are able to vie for backup positions, if something happens, the Buccaneers won't have to worry about, hey, who are we going to put in? Because we already know, and there's game film on all of these players to show that they can come in and do a good job. So, you know, I like the direction the Buccaneers are going. I like the progress they've made since the Tennessee Titans all the way up to the New Orleans Saints. So, for me, I'm satisfied with this. I'm more than satisfied. 6 wins as opposed to 2 wins last season is a big difference. Big difference. And once again, you got to look at who the Bucs have left. They have the Rams, the Bears, and the Panthers. And I really do believe that these are all winnable games. And no disrespect to the Carolina Panthers, but this is a division game. This is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and there's always that opportunity for a team to come out and win a game. All winnable games. So, no disrespect to Cam Newton and his undefeated Carolina Panthers. They are doing good. They've exceeded everybody's expectations as well. But at the same time, you're talking about a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that had, what would I say, Jameis Winston had 4 interceptions, and it continually put the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a short field. But my hat's off to Cam Newton because he was able to convert those turnovers into scores, into points. So he did what he had to do. But I really believe that you're going to see a totally different game than what you saw. You're going to see a totally different quarterback than what you saw in that Carolina Panthers game. So to me, I'm excited. I'm hyped up about that game. That's a game I'm really excited about. Win or lose, it's going to be a great game. So, it's something that I'm actually looking forward to. Got a lot of friends and a lot of people that support my show that are Carolina Panthers fans. Love you guys and all the stuff that you've helped me with. But I'm being realistic when I say that there's always that opportunity for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win one out, and that's gonna depend. Where I'm talking 3 games ahead of schedule here, but that's gonna depend on a whole lot. So I look forward to that game. Now let's get back to the Saints game. What I saw from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is a team that came out kind of flat, a team that didn't have that same edge that they had when they played against the Atlanta Falcons. I saw the I don't know if it was the play calling or what, but they just didn't seem to have that intensity that they had in a game like the Philadelphia Eagles, in a game like the Dallas Cowboys game. You just didn't see that same intensity that you saw in previous games in this game. So, it is what it is. And, once again, you just have to go back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers still learning how to win games. And I'm comfortable with that as long as you're seeing gradual improvement along the way, which I really I'm seeing. I'm really happy with what I'm seeing. And if it's me and I'm got my general manager hat on, this is General Manager Gene speaking right now, I would re-sign Doug Martin. I think Doug Martin is a huge part of why this team has been as successful with the wins that they've had as they have. He's not injured. He's playing at a high level right now. I think he deserves to get re-signed. something. Give him something for his efforts, and I really do. I think that he will continue to play for us consistently as the years go on. So that's just my take on Doug Martin. And I've heard a lot of people talking about Doug Martin and how limited his carries were, which is kind of surprising. But I'm not an offensive coordinator, and what you have to look at is when you're in the heat of the game, how are you going to get that win? How are you going to get that next score? How are you going to get that next first down? You're looking at all these things. You're not looking at statistics like Doug Martin only got 11 yards, 11 carries for 80 something yards. You're not looking at that. You're looking at, okay, this is the scheme I'm seeing right now. This is how the defense is set up right now. This is how we're going to approach them. And in Dirk Cutter's mind, in Lovey Smith's mind, they're looking at the personnel packages that they think will help them get the first down or get that score or get the field goal, So that's how they're approaching the game. And, us as fans, that's all we can do is put our trust in in a Lovey Smith to make those type of plays. And along with that, it just sometimes I know it can be frustrating as a fan. It can be super frustrating not knowing, okay, how are we going to approach this? How are we going to with Drew Brees continually going down the field and continually getting first downs, converting first downs and getting these scores. How are we going to stop this guy? And you can't second guess the coaching. I mean, yeah, I'm sure you can, but at the end of the day, what the coaches do the best of their ability what they can do. So, once again, my hats off to them, and they'll continue to improve. I really strongly believe that they will continue to improve. So, that's kind of where we are right now. I believe that the Buccaneers are a team that will continue to grow, and I think that as we look to the off season, we've got a couple more games. We're still on the outside edges of the playoff picture. And, Trent Dilfer made a great point. We shouldn't write off a team just because they're on the edges. I know that we have those quote unquote realistic Bucks fans that feel like let's not talk about this anymore because we're not in the playoff hunt. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be that possibility that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could get into the playoffs. It could happen. So, uh, I guess for me, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I do want to take this time, when we're talking about this game, this past game, there are so many influential Bucks fans for me that have really made it fun to enjoy this team. My team on the Buccaneers invasion, John Superfan Blakely, a really awesome guy, a guy that's been a Bucks fan. He lives in Atlanta and he shows that passion for the Bucks every week. Shanisha Bryant, she is amazing. Let me tell you what, she's part of the What the Buck team, and you see her at all the big functions for the Bucks. You see her at a lot of the away games. I hope to see her when Tampa comes to Phoenix next year. I really hope to get to hang out with all those guys when they're here and make it a fun time. So my hats off to them. Johnny Pirates King Dean, great guy. I love his perspective on the Buccaneers. He's one of those fans that despite how bad it's been, he's never jumped ship. He's never gotten crazy because of a loss or anything like that. He keeps a very calm head. So there's another one of our Bucks fans out there that I really appreciate. And with that being said, there are so many of these people, and my hats off to all of them that have hung in there through that 2-win season, through the Greg Schiano era, through the Raheem Morris era, and let's exclude the 10-6 team that almost went to the playoffs. because that was a very special year that doesn't get the credit that it deserves. But once again, it's a very special year. And with that being said, we've got a lot of Bucks fans that uh, are starting to join now. I just happened to be in the mall and I saw a guy purchasing a Tampa Bay Buccaneers hat. And as he was walking out of the mall and I'm walking towards him, he's putting his hat on and he notices mine and we stopped and talked. So I think winning changes a lot of things for teams. And, it's really exciting to see the fans really, starting to come out and really appreciate this. And I think that we do have something special with Jason Light and with that administration, uh, bringing these players in and getting the right players in the right positions. So, it's a work in progress. And I think, with this upcoming draft, I think you're going to see a lot more defensive players looked at. And, I'm really excited about that. So, my hat's off to them. And I'm really excited for, the next few years. And, congratulations to Jameis Winston. He's the youngest to ever hit 3,000 yards as a quarterback. And that's a monumental feat, considering all the quarterbacks that have been there before him. And I think that he's having a really good season, and I think he's going to continue to have a great season as time progresses. And while we're talking about Jameis Winston, I really love the improvement that this guy has made from his first game, throwing a pick six on his first pass to where he is right now. I mean, he's made leaps and bounds of improvement, and you can really see that stand out in how he's playing. So hats off to Jameis Winston, and continual improvement. I love what he's doing. I was fortunate enough to be in Tampa for the Atlanta Falcons game in which Doug Williams was inducted into the Ring of Honor, a man who is very special to me and special to the Buccaneers organization in the beginning and putting us on that winning track, showing us that, if you draft the right quarterback, that you can do so much with a team, and not taking anything away from the rest of the team, but he was the leader of that team. So, I was really exciting to be a part of that. And, while we're talking about that, I really, I, I've been really watching. I'm trying to stay away from stats because stats can only take you so far, and so many players have so many intangibles that you really can't put a number or any kind of statistic on them and how they play. So, I mean, players like a Levante David, and I know Levante David got a lot of grief at the beginning of the season. He allegedly had a rough season and he didn't play up to the way people had expected him to. But when I look at Levante David, I look at the guy next to him, and that guy is Quan Alexander. And when you look at the statistics, Levante David has 118 tackles, and Quan Alexander is right behind him with 93. I know that's not a big stat, but when you look at things, when you look at the grand scheme of things and how he's playing, Lev- Quan Alexander was definitely an upgrade over a Mason Foster, and you can really see that in his play. And what you look at here is the 93 tackles that he's a rookie. Keep in mind he's a rookie, and he's got 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. So Quan Alexander, when you watch this guy play, if you get a chance to look at the stats, I mean, not the stats, but if you get a chance to look at some of his plays, he's got a nose for the ball. He's always around the ball. He's always there for the big plays. And that's what this Buccaneers team needed. I think Lovie Smith and Jason Light hit a home run when they drafted this guy where he did. And I promise you, if the NFL had a rewind button and owners and general managers had a chance to look over this draft, I can promise you that Quan Alexander would have been drafted within the top 10, easily within the top 10. So hats off to Lovie Smith and Jason Licht and what they were able to do in landing a player like a Quan Alexander, which he's been playing. He's been playing great. Unfortunately for him and these alleged league rules that they have, uh, they got him for some kind of uh, energy drink that he had taken, which caused him to fail a drug test. So that's another thing that is kind of a downer, but hopefully we'll have him back at 100%. Hopefully we'll have him where he needs to be, and I'm excited about it. I can't tell you enough. Uh, I'm really looking forward to what this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team will be able to do next season, and just the noise that I think that the Buccaneers organization can make as we move forward. So that's something to really look at, and that's something I'm really excited about. So kind of fast forwarding now, I'd like to talk about the St. Louis Rams, and to me, the St. Louis Rams are a very dangerous team. I am not going to look at I'm not going to look at any of their statistics other than Todd Gurley is that guy is a monster. Just watching him run, it's amazing. And he's a rookie too. He's up for rookie of the year honors as well. You might even see him in the Pro Bowl because of what he's been able to do. So again, getting these players like this and getting to see what they're capable of doing is it's really exciting as well. So that's the game coming up on Thursday. What's going to happen? What are we looking at seeing? And I can tell you right now, this Rams defense is scary. They're very disruptive. They're a team that can really get out there and make a difference when it comes to making plays against opposing teams. So it's something that we have to really you can't overlook this team. And I keep hearing about how bad the how bad the offense is for the Rams. But I can tell you right now, they're a team that's kind of scary. Todd Gurley, 140 yards. Kenny Britt, I know he got 35 yards. Todd Gurley got the 2 touchdowns for the Rams. So it's really they're a team that you really have to watch. And there have been times where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have made a team that's mediocre look like a Pro Bowl team because of their play. So we can't sleep on anything that happens. I mean, let's look at the overall the net yards. The Rams ended up with 317 yards, and you compare that to the Detroit Lions who they played, and it's interesting. The Matthew Stafford put up 245 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns with 1 interception, whereas Todd Gurley had 140 yards with 2 touchdowns, and he ran one for 49 yards. So you can kind of see where um, the offense is going to be centered around Todd Gurley. And what's going to be very important for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is to be balanced. Number one, on defense, make sure that they're playing in their assignments. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have to make sure that they limit penalties, and they need to make sure that they're prepared when they go in. I've seen a couple of games this year where I've seen the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I was like, man, were they ready for this game? And that's kind of, it's not a knock on anybody or questioning anybody's ability, but at the same time, the Buccaneers have to be ready and realize that the St. Louis Rams are a dangerous team. They have nothing to lose. And that's a team that can actually, with a Todd Gurley, just like we have Doug Martin, every time he touches the ball, he has a chance to break it for a long one. So we have to stop the run. The Buccaneers have to be able to stop the run. And at the same time, we have to get pressure on the quarterback. That whenever the Buccaneers get pressure on the quarterback, we always do good. We always excel on defense, and we keep the score down, and it makes it easier for the offense to come out and do what they need to do. So Last week's game, I saw conversion after conversion after conversion after conversion, and what I saw was the Buccaneers wasn't they weren't getting the offense off the field. Very limited on 3 and outs. And this is a game that was a winnable game all the way up to the third quarter. It was a winnable game. And we have to see more fire from this team. We have to see this team that really wants to end the season on a high note, whether it's making it to the playoffs, winning a couple more games, giving the the coaches more game film to look at to say, hey, we want to keep this guy, or what do we want to do in this situation? So it's really up to the defense and the offense, the special teams. Everybody needs to go out there and make a play. I think this was a game last week. There were no defensive turnovers. The defense didn't get any takeaways, excuse me. And I think that's something that we really need to see more of is the defense playing more aggressive. I saw a whole lot of nickel defense, a lot of zone, and I think that if you have the right personnel, the Bucs can play more man to man. And I honestly believe that if the front four are getting pressure on the quarterback, it's definitely going to help. So these are things that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hopefully will focus on, is making sure that they're taking care of business when it comes time to, when it comes game time. And I don't know. I feel like, this team is right on the edge, and it's a team that can really do a whole lot more than what they've been doing. So, what we're seeing right now with this team, there are some injuries, and I definitely want to talk on some of these injuries. It looks like Vincent Jackson is going to be out for a while with this knee injury. I don't know how serious it is, but it is something that I wish him a speedy recovery, and hopefully he can get back out there eventually and help us make some plays. Uh, Logan Mankins didn't practice today. Does have listed as an ankle injury. Gerald McCoy should be a go. Jacquees Smith limited practice, so we don't know how serious uh, his injury is, or if it's going to be possible that he will even be playing coming up on Thursday. So we got to have that next man up mentality. And once again, the Buccaneers have a winnable game in front of them, and let's just hope that playing disciplined football will help them get this win. I'm I'm thinking they will. I think it's something that they need to really come together and say, you know what, this is a team that really can do something to get that win. So I'm hyped up about it, man. I think that once again, this Buccaneers team can eke out this win and get ready next week for going to Chicago and facing a Chicago Bears team, and hopefully coming out of there with a win. And with Jameis Winston as quarterback, I'm excited. Each one of these games is a winnable game. And I know I've said that earlier on in the show. I'm saying it again. Each one of these last 3 games, after the Rams, the Bears, and the Panthers, all winnable games. No disrespect to that undefeated Carolina Panthers team. They've done something very special. Mike Shula and Cam Newton are working well together, and we're seeing players playing better under the circumstances that they're in. So hats off to the Carolina Panthers and what they've done. They're making NFC South proud, because at the end of the day, you can say what you want to about the NFC South, but we have a team in our division with the best record out of everybody. So enough about that. And next, at this season, moving forward and going into next season, I really expect big things from the Bucs to do a whole lot more than what they're doing. So, just looking at the stats from this last game, and basically what the Rams are doing, it looks like, I don't know, Kenny Britt Marquez and Austin are kind of limited on what they're on their contributions. It looks like Kenny Britt had his longest was 25 yards. Marquez, his longest run or his longest receiving was 14, and Austin was 14 as well. But with our secondary, you never know what's going to happen, and that's kind of where I go back to what I was saying. These games are not given, and hopefully the Bucs can play discipline and really get out there and make some plays. And hopefully I haven't missed anybody that I was really talking about. Princess Nikki, I'm going to try to get her back on. I'm not sure if she's back from Tampa yet, but hopefully I can actually get her on the show next week. We can talk some football and kind of talk about the postseason and where we will be at that time. If we get a win, then we'll talk more about where we'll be in the playoff situation, or if not, just the things that the Bucs have done good to really improve and get better as the games go on. So I know it's a very disappointing loss, but fans, let's look at it this way: look where we were last year this time and where we are right now, and I would rather be right here where we are right now, to be honest. Uh, One last thing that I do definitely want to touch on, and it's been kind of irking me, is a lot of people have had a lot of negative things to say about Mike Evans. Mike Evans is Mike Evans dropping the ball. What if Mike Evans had done this? What if Mike Evans had done that? Yeah, I get that, and Mike Evans gets that. He's left a lot of yards on the field that he could have, balls he could have caught, plays he could have made. And what you have to keep in mind is Mike Evans has not been playing football that long. He has not been playing ball that long. And that's something you have to keep in mind. This kid has only been playing for a limited amount of time compared to all the other receivers in the NFL. And what he's been able to do is great. As far as I'm concerned, the kid is a beast. Now I know a lot of people are talking about why did we draft him? You can't say that anymore. He's here. He's signed a contract. This is our receiver right now. This is the guy, this is the go-to guy right now with Vincent Jackson out, with all the other receivers that we possibly can put on the field. That's our number one guy. And you got to back him. You may not like the plays, the offensive pass interferences that he's gotten, and he's gotten the short end of the stick a few times. But at the end of the day, there have been plays that this kid has made that I'm satisfied with what he's doing. I'm satisfied with where he's at. Yes, he could be better, but you know what? Griping about it is not going to put him in a better position. You can be as frustrated as you want, but this kid is the real deal. He's the genuine goods. He's not a Michael Clayton. And it annoys me when people try to compare him to Michael Clayton. I think that he's going to continually to get better. I think that this next game for him, and this is just my prediction, I think he's going to have a breakout game against the St. Louis Rams. I'm not taking anything away from their defense. I'm just saying this kid is hungry. I'm thinking that he's going to make some plays that we all know that he can make and put this team in a position to win some games. So I'm excited about this game, about the St. Louis Rams, because against that defense, it helps the offense to gauge where we really are. So to me, that's something that I'm looking forward to. And, hopefully he does have a good game. Now, next thing I want to bring up, the Color Rush uniforms. A lot of people that I've listened to don't like them. I love them. I'd love to own one. If I had one, I'd be wearing it right now. I love those uniforms. I think it's really exciting. The whole mustard and ketchup thing, I love it. I think that it's going to be great. I think that if the Buccaneers win, it's going to open it's going to help the fan base to grow a little bit more, because you got these cool uniforms I think are cool. And you're going to see all these fans that are looking at this team and saying, hey, I really don't have a team, but Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They got cool uniforms. You know, I'm sorry, but you can the Cowboys, the Eagles, Panthers, Falcons, uh, mm, uh, maybe Texans. Nobody has a cooler mascot. Nobody has a cooler team logo than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't care what you say. You can try to reason that a big blue star is cooler than a pirate ship. No, it's not. You can try to reason that some faded white wings are cooler than a pirate ship or a pirate. No, they're not. Skull and crossbones. Bottom line, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if we can start winning, and as you saw, the crowd, the size of the crowd in the game against the Saints, the crowd capacity, everything's increasing. I really do believe that we are headed in the right direction in a bunch of different ways. So to me, I'm really, like I said, I'm really excited where we are, and I really do feel like as we continue to progress, that things will get better for us. But basically, that's all I had. I'm on by myself this week. Hopefully, next week I'll have a guest. Um, I'll let as we go on, who we're going to have. I really would like, if you're checking out the show, it's your first time checking it out, or you've watched it before, leave me some comments. Leave me some things to talk about for the next show. This is a fan show. I haven't had a lot of fans come on, but at the end of the day, this is a fan show, and you may like my show, you may not like my show, but I'm always willing to listen. I love it. I love the responses that I get. I've got a couple of regular fans that check the show out, and they really like what I'm talking about. So I'm really excited about that. Definitely want to give a shout out to What the Buck. Uh, that is a great organization right there. Any of you Bucks fans that are going to Tampa for a football game, please, if you want the ultimate fan experience, go to What the Buck. They have the best tailgate that I've ever been to. I'm not interested in going to any other tailgates. After going to that one, I've been going to Bucks games since I can remember. But I tell you what, at the end of the day, bar none, What the Buck, spent, old school. Uh, I could go on and on. These are wonderful people. It doesn't matter if the Bucks are your team or if the opposing team is your team. These people are awesome. And they've really, listening to What the Buck has really given me a lot of courage to, have my own show. Not to mention the guys from Carolina Cat Chronicles who have, taken the time to assist me and, give me a little bit of critiquing and actually show support for my show. Matt Long, Cold Hard Truth. Matt Long is a really big inspiration as well. I listen to his show as much as possible, and I really like what he's got going on as well. So, uh, for me, there are a lot of people that I can mention, a lot of people that I've missed. Please don't be upset that I've missed you, but I'll catch you next time around. Um, Priscilla, hey, what's up? Just anybody else, J Buck, all you guys. Uh, Real Talk Perez, great show. If you can check out his podcast as well. Just a lot of great Buccaneers content out there, and I'm really glad to be a part of all that. Please, if you get a chance, check me out tomorrow. I'll be on Carolina Cat Chronicles show, Southbound and Down. It's an NFC podcast where you have the Carolina Panthers, Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints, and myself as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers representative. And we will be talking NFC South football. And I would really appreciate any support I could get for that show. It's fun to do, but it's great to know that there are Bucks fans that will be out there checking it out. So, with that being said, my name is Gene, super heavyweight. check me out, like my podcast, hate my podcast. Give me some thoughts on how you feel about it. I'll be more than happy to respond back. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow back. That kind of thing. So once again, I want to thank everybody. Uh, Show will be a little bit more. I was all over the road tonight. That's me. Sometimes I do get all over the road, but it was fun. So I want to thank everybody for taking the time to check it out, and have a good evening. Thank you. Peace.